Hi, good evening. Welcome to the February Ultima Cleaning Academy webinar. My name is Jamie and I'm one of the instructors at Ultima Cleaning Academy. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. I do apologise, there was a couple of technical hitches there at the start, but hopefully now you can all hear us fine. If you could just drop a message into the live chat so we know we're all together. So basically, as I say, I'd like to welcome you along. Tonight is a great opportunity to see about growing your biohazard business. So whether you've already started off your cleaning business and you're looking to put a bolt on, or if you're looking to have a fresh start with this kind of work, hopefully tonight we can help guide you along on that. So I've been with Ultima now for over 8 years, originally starting off as a members network and now full time with the Ultima cleaning teams up and down the UK. Like Ben, who I'll introduce shortly, we have both carried out hundreds of biohazard specialist cleaning jobs. So hopefully our hands-on experience can help to benefit you tonight. So, before I introduce Ben, I would just like to let you know that he's the founder of Ultima Cleaning Academy and he's actually most probably one of the most knowledgeable persons that's actually in this business. So, I'd like to take this opportunity now just to hand you across to Ben. Over to you, Ben.
First of all, training is super important. Okay, so we know there's lots of different places now. If you go back 10 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, we were about the only training outlet that was providing this kind of training. However, there are other companies do it. So make sure whoever you choose one that is going to really support you, that's going to help you, and that's going to give you the knowledge that you need to go forwards. That's really, really important. That's a key step. You also need to be aware of the walls that you're going to hit in your business. Now, this is the same for many, many businesses. You're going to hit walls with cash flow. So you're going to get to a point where you think, wow, do I invest more money in this and do I go forward? Do I stop and go backwards? Do I wait for a little while and then invest more money? Do I borrow money to increase your business? So that's a key point. So your cash flow is something you really have to think about because it will impact you. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a moment. We'll also talk about staff because that's a key point. When do you take on staff? As a one-man band, it might be something that you're thinking about actually taking more people on and trying to cross that line of employing. So we'll discuss that briefly as well. And also your own personal skills. What are you actually capable of doing? What's your skill set? I think this is really key to knowing yourself. Actually, sometimes it's good to ask other people, what do they think that your key skills are? Now, for instance, when I first started my business, very probably much like yourself, I was doing absolutely everything. I was out marketing my business. I was trying to pull business in. I was talking to customers. I was the one with my hands-on training, hands-on working, trying to do all these things myself. Even when the printer ran out of ink, I was the person changing the ink in it. I was the one answering the phone calls. But actually, what's your skill? What is your skill? And ask people this because it's really important. If you're fantastic at dealing with people, if you're fantastic at bringing work in, about networking, maybe it's your marketing, maybe social media is your thing. You're fantastic at blogging, and you're fantastic at putting videos out on TikTok, and you're brilliant at doing that. Maybe your skill set is grafting. Maybe actually you're the kind of person, Jamie refers to it as kind of head down, backside up. You're the man who's, or the person who's busy, hands down, getting work done. Maybe that's your forte. Whatever it is, you need to know that because it's really, really easy for you as a business owner to end up trying to do everything yourself. Now, I know when you start out, that is a key that you have to do lots of those things, but as soon as you can, make sure your primary skill is what you're promoting and you're using the most. And for me, I decided that I had to use my skill of dealing and working with people and building the business. And that meant I had to share those responsibilities. So that was a real key thing. I also think it's really important that you know your strategy. I mean, where do you want to be in 5 years? And I know that seems a crazy question to ask yourself right now, but it's really important. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you want to grow this business and sell it? Do you want to grow this business and pass it on to your family? Do you want to grow this business and just keep growing it? Do you want to move abroad? and work somewhere else. What's your strategy? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And really think about that, because that will give you a goal. If you're thinking about selling your business, for example, then you need to make sure that you're getting your business ready to sell. You need to make it appealing to a buyer. And that might mean actually not having you as the manager, having someone else to manage it. So someone could just buy it and it can take on running itself. If it's passing it on to your family, then that's a different thing. You need to actually build up work. You need to pull family in. You need to make sure you've got enough work going forward. So I definitely just think about your 5-year strategy, about where you want to go. Now, when we come to specifics in Biohazard, there are legal requirements as well that we have to think about. So if you're thinking about getting into this business, first of all, your waste. How are you going to deal with the waste that's generated? You need to have an outlet for that. There's lots of different types of waste that you're going to come across, but mainly we're going to be coming across hazardous and non-hazardous waste. So there's a legal requirement for you to be a licensed waste carrier, and that's an upper tier waste carrier. So you will need to think about putting that in place. Once that's there, you need to think about your vehicle. How are you going to be able to transport that waste? Are you going to go and hire a van when you get a job that needs that kind of waste taking on? Or are you going to buy a trailer and you're going to carry that waste in a trailer? Or are you deciding actually you're going to shell out money and buy yourself maybe a cage tipper van? But make sure whatever you do, if you spend money, that you utilize that money that you've spent. You don't want to have a vehicle parked on your drive that's just used once or twice now and again a month. Far better to really, really maximize the use of that. And if you haven't got enough work for it right now, maybe that would be hiring a vehicle, a van when you need to, or maybe a small trailer would be the perfect opportunity to get into this line of work. And then when you are carrying your waste, where are you taking it to? Really important that you go and find somewhere local to you that will take that waste. Now, very often, hazardous waste we're talking about comes under a European waste code called 180103. And that waste code has to be accepted by the place that you're taking it. So we need a commercial outlet, probably an incinerator. Now, you might think, there's nowhere like that round by where we are. But actually, there probably is. You may never have thought about it, but if you went to your local pet crematorium, they probably will take your waste. They've got a commercial outlet where they will take 180103 waste. You might find that you go down to your local hospital, and if that's being run, the incinerator is being run by a facilities management company, then very often they will take your waste. You might have a waste transfer station very close to you that will take that waste. If you can't find anywhere, then as a network, we really support all of our teams by helping them to find outlets for that. But waste is really, really important. Secondly, I'd think about training. So if you are a one-man band and you're trained yourself, or you're looking for training, at what point do you train other people? And do you have to? Very often people just think, actually, as long as I'm trained, it doesn't matter if someone else comes with me. Well, that's not actually true. So the 1974 Health and Safety at Work Act says that anyone we take with us or anyone we give work to, we need to make sure that they're adequately trained. So make sure that you do that. Whoever's with you, make sure that they're safe, they're protected, they're trained in what they're doing. Another thing you need to think about is your insurance. So many people diversify from a cleaning industry, a normal cleaning business, domestic cleaning or office cleaning, into biohazard. And they forget to notify their insurance company that they've changed their business, or they're adding more strings to their bow. And it's different. So you need to make sure that your insurance company knows exactly what you're doing. Now, we can help you with this if you want. If you come on our training, we're very, very transparent about working with people and insurance companies and trying to help people get the best deals and offers available to them. But you will need public liability to cover biohazard work. You'll also need employer's liability if you've got staff working for you. And if you're using any products that you're selling on to people, like sanitizers, then you do need an indemnity policy as well for those products. So it's important to think about that when you're building your business. You also need to think about maybe health and safety. So that's another thing. There's a legal requirement if you employ more than 5 people that you have to have a health and safety policy. And that policy has to dictate what you do. But it's also really good practice to have that in place already, to have a health and safety policy, and also to be really up to date with how to put together risk assessments and method statements. Again, if this is all a little bit worrying to you, don't worry, it's all covered on our training courses. But if you're doing it for yourself, then really important that you understand how to work safely in accordance with health and safety laws. And then what about equipment? What kind of equipment do you need? Well, I'm a big advocate of not asking people to go and spend lots and lots of money. I think just get the basics of what you need. So I would definitely advise you to get a needle kit, which would be a really good pair of hypodermic needle protective gloves, needle pickers. You'll need waste boxes to carry your needles in, and then just basic sanitizing equipment as well to go along with that, sprays or a pump spray. So a needle kit is really, really good to have. And a decontamination kit is also really important. So your sanitizer and how you're going to apply that. Is it going to be a pump sprayer? Is it going to be using a ULV fogging machine? If you're using the ULV fogging machine, do you know how that works and what product can go in that? So that's also part of the training that we cover, and any training that you receive should highlight those different items about fogging machines and products to go in them. And then maybe think of operational considerations, your staff, your teams. How are you going to upskill people, but also how are you going to build your team? Because it might be fine to be a one-man band, but actually you might be thinking, actually, if I go and someone is decomposed on a king-size mattress, how on earth am I going to be able to get that downstairs or into my vehicle on my own? Well, you're right, it's impossible. So you'll need to have extra hands, a pair of hands. What's really lovely about our network and our academy is that if you ever have done training with us and you need a hand, we can always get another team to come and help you. If you're a one-man band, that's not a problem. But if you're working for yourself, you need to think how you're going to get round those kind of situations. So really important you think about those, and you decide at what point you're going to go to go into employing people and taking on more staff. Okay, so next thing we're going to just discuss is maybe your marketing strategy. What do you do? Because a lot of you in here will be thinking, how do I get this kind of work? Where does it come from? It used to be that most of our work came through the police, but that's actually changed massively. We do work for the police, and you will possibly pick up work locally with the police force, but most of our work comes from either the local public who know about us, and you think that's a bit strange. Surely there's some team or some people that take over the property when someone's passed away. Well, that actually doesn't happen all the time. So very often it's the family who have to deal with that. So there's an element of marketing to local people in your area. Now, you might decide you're going to go very traditional and you're going to use radio or you're going to use newspapers. And although they're very old school, lots of your clientele is also going to be older people, that older generation. So it's important that you don't miss out on marketing to those people in your area. But there's also lots and lots of people using social media. So again, getting your name out on that, blogging, making sure you've got videos that you're working with, the academies or the training that you're affiliated with is really, really important. Also, it's not often what you know, it's who you know, and don't be shy in approaching people that you're currently working for. If you've got a current cleaning company, don't be shy in marketing to those people that you're cleaning at the moment. Maybe you only know them from cleaning their home, but who do they work for? Who do they know? It may be that you're cleaning an office. Well, what do the people in the office, do they know what you do? Do they know the opportunities that you can offer them if a situation ever happens where they need your services? So don't be shy about telling people what you do. Undertakers locally are really, really a good source, but also remember that they're very professional people and they've taken a long time to build their standing in the community. So respect that. If you're going to approach them, I would really, really approach them respectfully and professionally and offer your services to them. Your local authorities, councils, housing associations, housing managers, they'll also be very, very interested in working with you. But there are certain protocols that you have to go through. So you'll have to be an approved supplier to them. And if you think about what they want from you, they'll want your health and safety information, your insurance, your waste carrier's license number. They'll want your training certificate. They want to see what you've done. So all these things are really important for you building up a reputation. But with local authorities, you need to ask specifically to become part of their team, so that they know that you're available to work for them. So try and get on that list of providers for them. And also be realistic, because you'll see lots of tenders come out, and those tenders offer lots and lots of work. You might see a cleaning tender for £500,000 for decontamination cleaning for a police force. Well, you think that's fantastic, but actually, unless you're turning over at least 500,000, you're probably not going to meet the criteria financially to win that contract. Don't be put off by that, though, because I won loads of work when I started out, for finding out who won that contract and then approaching them directly and say, congratulations on winning the contract for maybe your local police force. And then say, actually, can I support you? Have you got any areas that you're struggling to provide services, and I can subcontract my services to you? So we do a lot of that, working with larger companies, and I have done all through my years of building the business. I didn't mind who I worked for, competitors or larger cleaning companies, but I always tried to offer them an opportunity to work with me as well. So it's a bit like David and Goliath. Very often they were a huge Goliath company and I was a little David, but I could move faster than them. I could respond quicker and I could offer a better service. So I really tried to do that. So marketing to these different people is really, really important. But again, be realistic. The chance of you picking up work on one visit to one person is minimal. So please, if you can, try to be realistic. And it's also something with marketing that you need to sustain. You need to keep doing it. And if you're a one-man band, just like me, when I started, you'll find that actually you do a little bit of marketing, work comes in, you're flat out busy, and then before you know it, work's dried up a little bit, and you think, why is it dried up? Well, it's because you stopped marketing. So it might be that you decide to sub that out to a marketing company or a friend or someone who's really, really good at marketing. And if you're no good at it, then get someone to do that. I remember a phrase that I really, really appreciate was experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted. So if you can, even if you can learn a little, the basic, you come up with experience of what you'll do it better. You won't do that again. You'll try and do something differently. And even with marketing, you might think, actually, I've learned that I need to get someone else to do it for me because they're real professionals at it. So that's something you might want to think about. Okay, and then the next point we're going to look at is overcoming challenges. So challenges, obstacles that come up. One of those I definitely think is marketing, like we've discussed, because sometimes we're struggling to find companies to work for. So marketing is a key one. And again, I go back to that. If you're not good at marketing yourself, try and find a really good marketing company to support you and help you through this. But if you are good at it, sustain it, keep it going. Another challenge you're probably going to find is waste, as I mentioned before. Where do you take your waste? So find, if you can, a local company that will take your waste for you, or if you can't find someone, whoever has trained you should be able to know someone local to you, or a national company that can work with you to help you with your waste. Another point that we mentioned early on was maybe cash flow. So that can also be difficult. Now, I'm not here to give you advice on how to manage your finances. I'll just explain one thing that really helped me when I started out. Initially, everything was totally fine, but the more work I did, the more I relied on cash flow. And I found that really difficult. So I use something called invoice factoring. Now, I only use it for a short period of time, and I don't encourage all of you to get into this if you don't want to. But actually, invoice factoring, if you speak to your bank, they will actually advance you money on your invoices. So as soon as you invoice, they will pay you sometimes up to 90% of that invoice on day one, and then they will chase the invoice for you. That really helped me when I started working for larger firms. Some of the work we were doing went from, I remember, you may have recalled that we did a job where we cleaned up a whale that was washed or brought in by a ship to Portsmouth Harbour. Now that job was about £27,000. That was a huge job for me at the time. Therefore, how could I fund that and pay all the waste costs? And so invoice factoring really helped me. As soon as I got to a point where we could buy ourselves out of that, then and get back to invoicing normally, then that was also the best place for me. But it might be something you want to think about with cash flow. One thing I would also encourage you from a mistake I made was to make sure you've got a really good work-life balance. If you say yes to everything like I did when I started, you pull in loads and loads of work. Just be careful that you don't end up losing something you really care about and really love because of that. So I would definitely advise you to make sure, and sometimes that could be speaking to someone who you really care about, someone who's a good friend or good family member, and ask them whether they think you've got that balance in place, because it'd be really horrible to lose something that you really love just for work. But when I was young and I started out, then I had to really drive. So it's finding that balance. I would also say that part of my business growth was never to say no. I've always said yes to everything that came along. Now I realise that kind of conflicts a little with the work-life balance, but because I didn't say no, I always took some time to try and price things up, to work it out, or to ask for help. And that was really important for me to be able to pick work up. So I got this kind of reputation for being a problem solver for lots of companies, just because I wouldn't say no. And if that happens, we get lots of our trained members who get a job. They say, "Hold on, I'm not saying no to this, but let me just see if I can take it on." And we get a phone call for us saying, "Can you help us with this?" And the network support us with it. So please use that. Come on our training course. Please use us to the full. I also think that when you're in this line of work, you are constantly having to think of the next opportunity, and don't get to a situation where you stop looking for opportunities. Constantly have your eyes up, look for customers, look for situations. I'm a real avid fan of watching the local news to where I am to see what's happening. When you hear of reports of lots of immigrants coming across the water on boats, what's your thought on that? Are you thinking about the people or the problem or the situation, or are you thinking about the boats they're left on the beach? Who's cleaning them up? Who's sanitizing them? Where are these people being taken, and do they need sanitizing? Do the properties that they're staying in need sanitizing? When you think about other things local to you, think of theme parks, think of pubs, clubs. Maybe it's private airlines, maybe it's a ferry crossing and there's vomit or there's body fluid on these. Who's cleaning it up? Can you solve that problem? Do people actually know that there's a problem that needs solving, and can you bring that to their attention? Do they understand that hepatitis B lives in body fluid in water for up to 8 weeks? And does that change now how they're going to deal with that? Or even in the dry, where it survives up to a week, is that something that they would rather someone else clean up than do it themselves? So really, really important that you think about those opportunities, and you make sure people understand the problems that you're solving for them. Also, when to employ. That's a really difficult question. It can be a real challenge. For me personally, I would say only when you need to. So whenever you can, first of all, get away with using the network that we have to support you. Get away with maybe subcontracting to someone else to help you with waste. But as soon as you get to that point where you've got too much work for yourself, then employing has to happen. So it's a real jump. Now, some people have decided never to take that step. They just work for themselves, and they're completely content to hit a ceiling of work that they can cope with, and that's admirable. If you want to do that, then great. But if you want to progress and you want to build a business, you're going to have to employ. And again, you need to make sure that the person that you take on, that they're suitable for this work. And a great thing to do is introduce them to training themselves to see whether that training is something that they're really happy to be a part of and they want to do, and whether they can cope with the things that they're seeing in that training. So lots of people who've come on our training course actually start crying in the training, or they get quite disturbed about what they're seeing, and I think actually this isn't for me. So which is great, because it means that there's no point in them going any further in this business. But if you've got someone with you, then really fantastic to know their limits and what they can and can't do. When I first started, I decided to employ people who worked on farms, people who had worked in abattoirs, because they were used to lots of trauma and lots of body fluid. So that's really important. And also, if you are finding a challenge with cash flow, please do not skimp on your PPE and your RPE. So your personal protective equipment and your respiratory protective equipment. Lots of people tend to try and buy cheap if they're trying to skimp on stuff, and actually that is the worst thing you can do for going forward. So I would really advise you to make sure that you get really good personal protective equipment and RPE. So, and again, whatever training you go for, make sure you're 100% supported. It has to be based on being supported. So I would really advise you. So if you have the challenge at the moment, you've done some training with someone else, and you don't feel supported, then make sure you get in touch with them and make sure that they can support you, or get retrained with a company that can support you. So I hope that's given you kind of some insight. I don't want to spend ages and ages on your of your evening, but definitely I would say marketing is really, really key. Get someone who's fantastic at marketing. If you can do it yourself, don't let it slip. Make sure you give yourself some time every week to do some marketing. And that point about where do you want to be in 5 years, start thinking about that. Where do you want your business to be? What are you going to do? What's the succession plan for that? And all of those legal things we discussed, make sure you put them in place. Your insurance, your waste, and your health and safety requirements as well. So make sure they're all in place. So I hope that's been good. I think now we're going to hand back over to Jamie, who's going to just discuss some case studies with you of people who've been on our course before. It's always interesting to learn from them and to see what's happened in their situations.
Thanks, Ben. Good evening, everyone. Apologies for a frantic start. Modern technology. I'm not quite sure if you heard all the intros, but I'll quickly jump over it. So, my name's Jamie. Nice to meet everyone tonight. So, basically, I've been with Ultima now for about 8 years. So, I actually came on board and actually did the training myself. I had my own business. Was looking, as Ben says, where's the niche? Where's the next market? So I went along, done the training, got a good relationship with Ben and Mark and the team. And then years down the line, actually, Ben acquired my team and my business. And then I came along to join Ultima. So I'll look after the UK of all the teams. So it's exciting times ahead. But as Ben says, there's lots of opportunities. The key is just to know where you're looking to take your business. Where does it fit into your current model? What contacts do you have? So we can have a look at that. We've also had quite a lot of questions come in, so we'll do a little questions at the end just to go everything, and then we can come up to date with everything like that. So success stories. So we've got a couple of different success stories. So for me, the industry used to always be very male driven. So it's something that we've looked at, and I'm actually quite proud to say that Ultima has a very strong, female balanced driven of teams. So, some of the teams I'm going to speak to you about tonight. One of the teams is a company called Dust Demons, which are based at Stafford in the Midlands. So Yvonne and Angela actually came on board with us maybe about 8 years ago, and they've had their own commercial domestic cleaning business. But again, they were looking to see what they could bring across to their business on the side. So Angela and Yvonne's most probably done about 800 jobs for us. in that period of time, ranging from deep cleans to sanitizing to human waste, trauma. It's amazing. They're such a lovely team, very strong, very friendly. So again, please don't be put off if you think, well, we are just a female team. Does it need to be males? As we've said, when it comes to lifting heavier stuff, we can always, look at bringing in extra help to help you along with that as such. For instance, the Dust Demons team actually employ an external waste company that they'll come in and remove a lot of their stuff for them. So it's definitely something to have a look for. Other thing that you might have actually seen is you actually might have seen these girls on the television. They've been on Call the Cleaners, they've been on Channel 5. They are some of the nicest girls that you'll ever get to meet. So if you do see them on the telly, you'll know who they are. One of the next teams that we've worked quite closely with is a company called Hills Specialist Cleaners. It's Zoe and Maria. And again, they actually done the training about 8 years and have roughly done about 500 jobs for us. They have actually cleaned one of the worst human waste clearances I've actually ever seen, and they dealt with that no problems at all. So they're based out of Essex. Again, very successful domestic and commercial, and have now bought this into it and actually set up a specialist side to their business. Another team I'd like to talk about is Pansy, who's actually been now one of our longest members. She's been with us for 12 years now. She's based in the Midlands and has also now expanded her business to London and around those areas, and has mostly done around 1,100 jobs for us. She currently works very closely with us on one of our social housing projects. So as I say, what makes them so special, what makes them so good, there's a few different things, and there's actually lots of different teams that I would like to mention, but obviously we don't have the time tonight. But for me, Ben, Mark, and the team, we'd like to personally thank all of our teams for their ongoing support. We really couldn't do it, without you. So what makes them unique and special? So the teams that I've spoke about tonight, the standards for PPE are impeccable. Whenever they send us in photos of the job, it's the proper equipment. As Ben says, you cannot take a chance on using substandard PPE equipment. Always use the highest standards. Again, now these teams deliver us extremely high standards. They always answer their phones 24 hours, no problems at all. And mostly important, the empathy that they share with our clients. And some of the really traumatic situations they find themselves in, they're an absolute credit to the network and to themselves. And as I've said, most of all, they're just really nice people to work with. So the industry, it's got we've got cleaners out there that operate out of Fiat 500. And then we've got teams that have got maybe 30 or 40 people behind them. There's different areas within this industry that you can actually find. But as we spoke about, you need to actually have a look at your niche and to see where you can actually bring that into it. So some of the pictures you can see is just at our training centre here, where we will actually mock up needle sweeps. We'll mock up unattended deaths. We've got about 60% practical, 40% classroom. And this is your time where we do come in and, if you are going to make a mistake, this is where you want to do it, and we can guide you through that. You do not want to be making these sort of mistakes when you're out in the real world as such. So that's that there. So we've got a couple of questions. So I'm going to put them out. Ben, there's a couple of questions that came across for you, just because we are building up. So we'll do a couple now and then we can move back on. So Ben, one of the questions we got asked. Ben, you there? Hi,
Yeah.
mate. We've got a few questions just building up, so I'll do a couple then out, and then we can just
Okay.
do the last couple off. Just have a look at it here. So basically, what we're looking at is people are asking about waste licenses. So, do they need a waste license if somebody else has curated the waste?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we need. So basically, you have to decide, and it's a little bit of a grey area. But when we're looking at the waste, if somebody has, say, died and decomposed onto a carpet, have they created the waste? Well, we would probably say yes. But actually, if we're cutting that out, we're also creating waste by taking it out. So it's a bit of a grey area. But yeah, if you speak to any of the environment agencies regarding waste management, then yeah, we would be classed as waste carriers. The other thing is when we are taking waste in our vehicles and we're moving it, we need to be able to show that we are compliant with moving that. There is something called ADR, which if waste is your primary business, then you need to be an ADR, and hazardous waste is your primary business, then you need to have ADR training. So when you see people carrying waste like PHS for feminine hygiene, or you see lorry drivers carrying petrol, they will come under that hazardous waste ADR, but we don't. So we come under, it's not our primary business. Our primary business is cleaning, but we still need to be licensed to remove that waste and take it off site. The only time we wouldn't have to be was if you had a company, say ABC Waste Management, who were going to come to the site that you're working at, and they were going to take that away, or they're going to put a skip there for you, and you were going to put that waste in that skip, and they were going to take it away, then you wouldn't have to be licensed to carry that waste. But to be honest with you, most of our call outs are emergencies. Most of them want the waste gone from that site. So it would be quite short sighted not to do that. So I would definitely advise you to become a licensed upper tier waste carrier. It's only about £160 for 3 years it lasts for, but it's definitely worth doing that. And then you know that you've covered every requirement.
Excellent. Thanks, Ben. Just had another couple more here. So, do we need DBS enhanced to be ready as well as other documentation?
Yeah, again, a good question. So, for those of you who don't know, DBS is a vetting system to be able to allow you to work with the elderly and the vulnerable normally. Some companies want to check your background to see whether there's any criminal records. Even if it's next of kin, sometimes that can have an impact on you. But so specifically, say if you're working in a residential home, or where you've got elderly people, you're working in a school with young people, or kindergartens, nurseries, that kind of thing, then definitely a DBS is required. Normally, you'll be notified of that. Your local authority as well, if you're working for them, they may have some sensitive places. We have lots of situations where we clean up properties where maybe it's a place for women who've been really mistreated, been treated badly by partners, and no men are allowed in that building. Therefore, it's only women. So that's been great for us to have a diverse kind of team, as Jamie mentioned earlier. But also, they will let you know whether you need to have a DBS to work directly for them, and that can be submitted on your behalf. So for 99% of the work that we do, working for local authorities, working for police forces, working for undertakers, housing associations, private customers, no, a DBS is not required. But if you are working for particularly with the elderly and the vulnerable, then you normally get asked for an enhanced DBS, which you can do online as well. You can submit one and you can get that in, and that will they're about £35-40 to get one of those done as well. So you might want to choose to do that just as something to support your kind of personal development and your personal kind of approach to those people, to say that actually this is how I want you to know me, this is what I do, and this is who I am as a person. I've got no criminal records. I want to show you that's who I am. So you could do that if you wanted to, but it's not necessary.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, so Justina's came in with one. Do you actually clean up body parts?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting. Yeah, actually, so through my career, I've had lots and lots of different jobs come in. Some of them have been 90% of them, I would say 90, maybe 95%. The body's been taken away by the undertaker or the coroner's office, or some that the body is gone, and we've just left with the fallout, the body fluid that's there, blood, vomit, feces, sometimes skin and fallout from that, decomposed matter. Body parts normally not. However, I've personally worked on scenes where there has been a rail accident where a train has hit somebody who's jumped in front of it, and there are body parts still attached to the train. There are limbs, fingers, digits, arms, etc., up underneath the train. I've had to pull those out. There have been scenes where I've gone to a property where someone has died who's a hoarder, and their property has fallen in on them as they've decomposed. So I've had to not only uncover the body, but then I've also had to help scenes of crimes officer put the body into a bag to be able to take that away and clean up after that. So it does happen now and again. There's also various different types of death, so which we do cover on the course. But if you deal maybe with a shotgun suicide, which is potentially traumatic to clean up, but there's an impact from that shotgun, and we find various body parts, pieces of skin, teeth, earlobes, whatever's been affected, even digits, fingers, etc., all over the place. So there is an element of that as well. Interestingly, that body parts actually should be buried or cremated with the body. So there is a legal requirement for us anytime we come across those to make sure that the authorities are aware of that and they're repatriated with the body if it's as the person has actually passed away.
Excellent, thanks, Ben. Okay, so I've got a couple more questions, but a lot of the next questions are actually based about the course, how we deliver it, where we deliver it. So I think on the next couple of slides, Ben's actually got some information about the course. So I'll let Ben deliver that with some dates and information and some offers about the course, and then we can finish off the last 5-10 minutes just for the last couple of questions.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. Yeah, brilliant. So maybe we could have a slide up which will just kind of give us some information to have a look at. So our training, it's not our primary thing actually. So for Ultima, it's not our primary thing. The whole point of our training is honestly for those people who want it to build their own businesses. To come on the course, it's not a franchise. Okay, so this isn't something where we're tying you into anything at all. So to give you a snapshot of our training, if you looked at the cross section of people on our training, we get prison officers, we get council workers, we get cleaners who want to diversify, build their business. We get people who've been on the course and they want to send someone else to come on the course to build their business as well, to grow in it. We get some random different companies come on. The last training course, we had some ex-convicts who came on the course who are now being supported to start their own cleaning company, and all come out of prison and want to build their business. It's called Not Going Back. Their company, really lovely people, and it was nice to train them. So lots of different people. So, but actually, our primary business is delivering services. So through the Ultima environmental business, we deliver a national reactive cleaning business, and people who've been on our training course get first dibs at that work. So we offer that work to those people in their areas as well. So as you see, there were some dates on there. We've got one at the moment coming up next week or the week after in March. All our face-to-face training takes place in Bristol. Not because it's a great place to be, it's just actually it's central to the UK. So you can fly in, you can get the train in, you can drive there. Hotels are not too bad. It's an easy place to deliver training. So with the 10th to the 12th of March, we're there delivering a 3-day training course. We're there in June, September, and November. And so that's a really intensive 3-day course where honestly you'll be bombarded with information about looking for work, building up work, dealing with situations, coping with waste, looking at products, and none of it is about sales. It's not a sales pitch where we're asking people to buy stuff. Okay, it's a training course where we want you to go away feeling that you can actually walk into a situation that you could cope with, and that you're supported by a network who can help you and take care of you. I would just highlight the first ever training I did for this work was with the British Institute of Cleaning Science. And I went on this training course for half a day. They poured some tomato sauce on a desk, and we knew how to clean that up. And that was kind of about all we learnt. And my first ever job on the back of that training was a man who had died. He decomposed through a wooden floor, through a carpet, and into the concrete. And it took me 4 hours to get his body fat out of the concrete. The smells, there was a swarm of blue bottles in there. His dog had eaten his face and his leg. honestly, there were so many things that I wasn't prepared for. So we try to go through lots and lots of training to prepare you to be able to cope with stuff. Not only that, but we will pass you work in your area, and we'll also support you and help you. So it's really, really in depth. There is a an offer at the moment. We, for anyone who comes on this webinar, to get £50 off any training. So please, if you want to discuss that, please feel free to give us a call on our office number. There's a discount code of Spring50, which you'll see, and you can input that as well, and you can have that discount. It's not too late to come on the March course. I think we've got a couple of places left if you want to come on that one. But if you prefer to book into the new year, later on into the year, then that's fine. We've also got an e-learning course as well. So e-learning, if you want to learn from home at your own pace, then we've put lots of effort and energy into building e-learning courses. These aren't your typical e-learning courses where it's kind of Mr. Chips from Catchphrase walks on and picks up a needle. These are all really, really thought out training courses, all interactive. Any of the videos in these training courses are all 360-degree. So if you're watching on a computer, you can scroll around and have a look at the whole scene, or you can put your phone, if you're doing the training on a phone, into I can't remember what they're called, but into a holder to be able to look into it, to make it 3D, and then you can actually have a look around and see what our teams are doing while they're cleaning. So really, really interactive, really thought out. And again, you can pick and choose these courses if there's a specific thing you want to do. So specifically, if you want to get into needles, then you can just do a course on that with the health and safety one and maybe the waste one, and those three will give you access to be confident to be able to do that. We do advise that if you want to do all of the courses online, book all of them, and then come to our day, a confidence day on the Wednesday while we're in Bristol. Meet the team, meet us, and network with the people that are there. It's a great day, and you'll do lots and lots of practical cleanup, from road traffic accidents to using foggers to using due diligence machines to working cleaning body fluid off of surfaces, hard and soft surfaces. So it's a really cool way to meet the team as well and to be a part of that. But and also, if you're don't struggling to for cash flow, and you think actually you don't want to pay all of that money in advance, there is an opportunity to pay installments. I know the team have put in place a situation where you can pay by Klarna or ClearPay, and there's a little QR code you can scan now if you prefer to do that. So that's up to you if you want that opportunity as well. But yeah, the course is, I don't think we've had anyone who's ever come on the course who've gone away and said, actually, it wasn't for them. Everyone has absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it, but also gone away with knowledge, but also a buzz about picking up work, and a real insight into how to run a business as well in this industry. So yeah, we'd love you to come on our training course. Come and meet us. That would be great. So yeah, there's a QR code as well on here, which will take you to our website, and you can if you want to, you can go onto that. But or if you're the kind of person that you want to speak to us, please just give us a call. Our number is there. Nicola, who kind of deals with the training, booking you all in, she's absolutely lovely, and she'll help you through any of the questions that you have. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, some good questions coming in. So I think you've actually just covered a couple of them there. So people are asking what the difference is between doing the online courses and then coming to the practical. So the key thing is, if you do complete all the biohazard training, that then you've got the option to come then to the confidence building day. That would then give you your full accreditation. So I think we've got a couple of questions here. If I just put this one up here, Ben. Okay, so if you've completed the online biohazard cleaning bundle, what services are you really qualified to offer?
Yeah, so if it's the whole bundle, then definitely you will have gone through exactly the same training, just at your own pace, in your own time. So it depends on your background. I would say lots of people, if you're coming from an environment that's not used to cleaning or not in the cleaning industry, to jump straight into this, you may struggle with. So I think maybe the 3-day course would be better for you in person. And sometimes people also need a bit more support. So it might be that actually your first job that comes in, you ring us as an academy and say, can you please send someone to come and help me complete this job, or can I shadow someone? Well, of course we would do that for you as well, so we'll try and do that. But I would say, yeah, the qualification itself is exactly the same. You will get a certificate for both, but maybe you'll find it better to be hands-on and in an environment where you can ask us questions. I'll give you one example of that. The last training course we did, the 3-day training course, somebody asked me whether if a body was dripping through a floor, whether there's anything that they should know or worry about. Now, my first answer was to them, do they understand anything about asbestos? And they weren't asbestos trained. And we encouraged them to understand that if the ceiling had Artex on it, then suddenly there's a whole raft of different legislation that's opened up. Now, you wouldn't get that normal interaction if you're working at home doing your training on your own online. So it's really helpful, I think, when you've got lots of people in a classroom all asking different questions. You learn lots and lots from them. Plus, the networking that you get is absolutely invaluable. So, but as regards to the qualification, no, it's not. The qualification is exactly the same.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so Daniel's coming straight in with it. What is the minimum charge per hour for these services?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question as well. And a lot of people, it's really interesting. If we ever have people on our training course who have been in the fire and flood industry, where they've been working with that kind of disaster, the prices that we will tell you are run of the mill. Okay, sometimes people coming from a domestic cleaning background where they're charging 15, 20, 30 pounds an hour, they will struggle to understand these prices. But please be assured that they are genuine. So normally, we will it's difficult to say per hour because it's hard to kind of allocate jobs on a time frame because things change. We never actually price per hour when we're doing this unless it's a police cell, custody cells. So for custody cells, it's about 70 between 70 and 120 pounds an hour for cleaning a custody cell. Outside of that, if you look at normal cleaning, if we were charging out for just general decontamination, it's normally about 300 to 400 pounds per operator per day, but that increases with difficulty. So, for example, if there's been a shotgun suicide or a decomposition, then prices normally start about £750 to up to about £1,200 starting point, and that will cover normally about 3 to 4 hours work. So the margins are really, really good. Obviously, like anything else, if you are taking on a lot of work, so the more work you do for the police, for example, or say you get a contract with someone like a large NCP car park company, and you're picking up needles in the car park, the more work they're giving you, sometimes they expect the hourly rate or that price to drop. And that's up to you to decide that. But for us, genuinely going forward, that all of our network are pricing on the same kind of basis, a minimum of £300 to £400 per operator per day. But it normally, for the jobs that we're passing them, if it's a £300 to £400 job, actually they're normally completing it in 2 to 3 hours. So it's really good margins.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, I can answer this one for you, Mark. So the discount code for the June course. So the discount code is for the online training, not for the 3-day course as such. As I say, so that's for your online training. The discount code.
I think Jamie, I think we were offering just a £50 for attendees as well for the face to face in March.
All right. Okay. Well, do you
I
want to,
think
are we offering that for June at the moment, or are we going to wait till the?
I think if someone's taken the time to come on this webinar, we should just definitely offer that to them. So yeah, if you speak to Nicola, definitely just say Ben said you could have £50 off of the course, and I'll take it on the chin if I'm wrong.
Right, excellent, thanks. So, Mark, if you just contact Nicola at the office and just say Ben says, that's fine. Okay, last couple of questions just before we round up for the night. We do appreciate everyone sticking with us for the hour. You've all had hard days today. So basically, what we're looking at here is okay. So this one here, I'm just going to show this one up for you. It's Julieta. So she's asking now, would it be best to do smaller biohazard jobs until you've done the in-person training? I plan to do the fogging. So I think she's looking at doing the online courses and then building up to the 3 days.
Okay, so I would definitely say make sure the training that you've done covers everything that you're getting into. So if you have done the online training, make sure it's specific to the work that you're doing. I wouldn't undertake any work outside of that unless you are trained to do it. So if you have done a course on fogging, on an e-learning course, and it's included fogging, then yeah, definitely. But also, please don't limit it to fogging for human issues. So are there kennels near you that have got kennel cough that you can fog to sanitize those? Are there stables for horses where they have equine flu? Are there people local to you who've got chickens and they want for avian flu? They want their chicken coops cleaned and sanitized. Those kind of things. Please think outside of the box. Are there vets who want sanitizing using fogging? All of these things. We do so much work for such a diverse range of people, but fogging is just a great way to get into that. So if you've had that training, yeah, definitely do that. And if you've had training for waste, obviously you can offer that service as well for collecting waste and taking it to your waste transfer site as well.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Julia. Okay, so basically, she's completed online courses already and comes from a healthcare background. So,
Amazing. So yeah, so yeah, fantastic. So you'll be au fait with lots of it. So anyone who comes on our course, um, who with a background in healthcare, we really wrap our arms around and want to work with them and help them and them to help us as well. I think we would be really foolish if we thought we knew absolutely everything. So as part of our training, our networking is really valuable. We get lots and lots of different people. For example, we've had lots of undertakers come on our training course to be trained up, and the amount of information we've learned from them has been fantastic. Sometimes we learn really horrific things where you hear of prison officers who've never ever been offered a hepatitis B inoculation, and they're working in this horrendous environment. So we learn from lots of people. So yeah, Julieta, amazing, well done for that background. I'm sure it'll be a huge benefit for you.
perfect. Okay, so we're finishing off, but just a couple that I could just answer here. Kylie, so no, you can't just turn up to the confidence building days, but if you contact Nicola, she'll be able to book it in just so we can have some slots for you. But if you give Nicola or drop us an email, we'll be able to come back to you with the dates for the rest of the year. Okay, and I think we'll just finish off with this last one here. Okay, how soon? I'll put this one up for you. How soon do you get paid after each job? How does it work? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't pay you. We just run away with the money. And no, I'm only joking. So yeah, we normally pay 30 days on invoice. So as soon as you put your invoice in, it's 30 days. However, we know how difficult it is to run a small business. So if there's an opportunity for us to pay that sooner, and there's a real need for it, then we will do that. So yeah, uh, I hope you understand that we are exactly the same as your situation. We've come from the same background. I started window cleaning when I was 16 and built the business up to where it is now. So we understand exactly when money is needed and how tight it can be. So where we can help you, we will. At the worst case scenario, it'll be 30 days from invoice being submitted by you and being received by us. So yeah, also just on the screen is a QR code which takes you to our Ultima brochure, and again from there you can see all the different services that we offer, and you can get in touch with us via that as well.
Excellent. Okay, I think that's all the questions. I think there's one more slide still to come, Lanry. Here we go.
Uh, I'm a much better cleaner than I am a writer. But if any of you are bored stiff and you want to you want to hear my life story of how I got into this business and what I've done and what I've seen, then scan the QR code and it'll take you to Amazon if you're interested in that on Kindle or paperback. I will be doing reading the book as well, so you can download an e-reader of it. That'll come soon. But if you want to, but please, I'm not a brilliant writer, but you might enjoy it.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, and then I think it's just one more slide. So, we do apologise for our start tonight. Technical issues between Scotland and Wales. But we're all sorted. But any information or any feedback, if I could ask you just to have a look at the QR code, please drop us a message on that, how you found tonight. If there's any more information you'd like in the future, please get in touch, and we'll hopefully see you again very soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Good night, everyone. Take care.